and I want to do a couple of things. I want to do predictions for the seeding for the playoffs, the East and the West. I also want to do the mid-season award winners. Who's your mid-season award winners for MVP, Rookie of the Year, sixth man, most improved, all that stuff. And then I want to take a look at some of these trades that have happened that we haven't, one, either got to talk about, or two, we haven't talked about at all, even if we've had that opportunity. So starting off, I want to talk about the seeding predictions for the NBA playoffs. I'm going to start with the East. We would be sitting here forever if we went one at a time. So starting off with the East, I'm going to go 10-1. So 10, I'm going to go with the Hawks. The 9, I'm going to go with the Pacers. The 8, I'm going to go with the Bulls. The 7, I'm going to go with the Magic. So that's going to be our play-in. And then the top 6 is going to be Knicks, Heat, Cavs at 4, Bucks at 3, 76ers at 2, and then the Celtics at 1. Now, when I did this, this was before the Doc Rivers to the Bucks situation.
Yeah, that was weird.
That might go flip 76ers Bucks. I can flip those two pretty easily. And
wasn't that weird?
It is weird. It's strange.
I keep expecting like a sexual scandal or something.
That's what I thought too. That's immediately what I thought. Yeah, like what's his name? The Celtics coach that got in trouble.
Ime.
Yeah, Ime. I was gonna say, how do you say his goddamn name? I always forget. Keep an eye on the Cavs too, because they've won their, I think, 8 straight games now, with 2 of their top stars out. So keep an eye on them. When they come back, they might continue that trend up. And who knows, the Bucks might have a hard time meshing with a new coach and maybe a new system that's going to come in. So keep an eye on that. They might end up taking maybe the 3 spot. So keep an eye on the Cavs. I think they could move up a little bit.
I'm not going to re-rank your rankings just for sake of time on this, but I think you're too low on the Pacers. So I'm going to bump. I don't think Pacers. I think Tyrese is going to get back healthy and he's going to gel with Siakam, just because that makes my outlook as a Kings fan terrible that he goes off to be a superstar. So I think he's going to be a little higher. I do think that the Hawks are going to move.
Murray.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for saving me on that. I think they're going to move Murray, so I think they're going to drop out. I don't think that Trae has proven to be able to carry the team like that. And maybe the Raptors.
I'm not a big Trae Young guy. Just putting it out there at all. I'm an anti Trae Young guy.
Maybe the Raptors gel a little bit and they can move in there. As far as the top 4, I think Boston's really good. Unfortunately, I saw it in person this year. I think it's going to take some time, and I'm not a big believer in Doc Rivers, to be honest with you. I really think that he's underperformed everywhere that he's been as a head coach, taking it all the way back to the Lob City Clippers.
He really rode just like every other Celtic from that 2008 team, that championship. Him and everybody else rode that, huh?
Yeah, they did. As I saw a funny video of Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce and a couple other guys today talking about if LeBron's still top 5 in the league, and I think Kevin Garnett deep down hates Paul Pierce, like the way he was talking to him. I'm like, dang, that's slow down, take it easy on the young fella right there. But
yeah, and it's funny because I don't like Paul Pierce at all, but I love Kevin Garnett, and Kevin Garnett to me is so hysterical, especially all his interviews that he does. Sometimes I find myself like laughing because he's so funny.
Yeah. For some reason, they put the Packers 49ers game on the TV in front of me, so it's distracting me. It's making me sick. So Boston at 1 feels right. 76ers at number 2 feels right. And then however you want to shake it out, I'm sure Miami will be up there, I'm sure.
And this was the pre-Terry Rozier trade too, which we'll talk about.
The Bucks will be up there. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
The NBA is so hard because it's best of 7-game series. But I mean, if we were just going to make a finals prediction right now, I mean, it would be simple. I'd go with the Nuggets and the Celtics. So, your rankings aren't to mine. I just think the Pacers are a little better. So, wrap that up.
I found the West to be a lot harder to rank. I'm not a big believer in the Magic. So I have the Magic at, not the Magic, the Mavericks at 10, Lakers at 9, Jazz at 8, Pelicans at 7. That rounds out the play-in tournament. I have the Kings at 6.
Let's go.
I have the Suns at 5. That hinges a lot on everybody being healthy and playing well together.
The Suns
That's a
could almost
huge part of it.
fall out. The Suns could fall out. They could go to number 2. All depend
Yes.
on if they could stay healthy.
And genuinely, with these next 4, I could shuffle all 4 of them and be completely happy. This one's gonna be super controversial. I have the Nuggets at 4.
Come on, bro.
I have the Thunder at 3. I have the Clippers at 2 and the Timberwolves at 1.
I don't believe in the Timberwolves at all. I don't care. I know they're playing good. I don't care. And you know the other thing about OKC is Shai is the new version of James Harden. The dude's a baller, but he just foul baits on every play. That shit doesn't play in the playoffs. And I know the seedings get us into the playoffs, but I think he's going to be pretty disappointed when he starts flailing all over the place in the playoffs and they won't give it to him like they give it to the finals. This shit honestly makes me sick. The NBA has a freaking problem. I don't know how to fix it, so I don't want to discuss it. But watching him, he's so damn talented to play the way he plays. It just makes me I disagree completely with the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets are the best team in the West. Or I think that I don't believe in the Timberwolves. As we get into February and March, if they're still up there, I reserve all the rights to change my mind, but I don't believe in them. I think it's the Karl-Anthony Towns and Gobert thing. I just don't think it works in the playoffs. Normally, Rudy Gobert gets played off the floor anyway in the playoffs. But again, we're not talking about the playoffs. We're talking about the seeding into the playoffs.
Why do you think the cat Rudy thing doesn't work in the playoffs specifically?
Because it never has. Like that type of situation never has. But Cat, the way he's playing this year, he's never played that way before. Like he's operating at such a high level right now. I just don't expect it to continue. So if it does, then I'm wrong, and that's cool. But as it says today,
Cat's like one of the best big man of all time. And the thing is why I think they didn't mesh very well at the beginning, because Cat's been told to play inside this whole time and then play outside when he can. No, absolutely. The thing is like he was told to play inside this whole time, right? And then they get Rudy Gobert, who exclusively can only be inside. So for him to shift to be like, instead of them playing like however they want to play previous seasons, and Cat can play the guy in the middle, the 4 out, 1 guy in the middle type situation. They're still playing 4 out, but he's one of the guys out instead of inside. So he had a hard time meshing. Him and Rudy had a hard time meshing at the beginning, especially since Rudy got hurt. Cat had issues. They did not mesh, and I think they're just getting better and better and better. And now, like we said, Cat's elevated his play to a next higher level. Shout out 62 points. Along with Joel Embiid's 70 points in the same night. It's pretty crazy.
You see the Durant interview where they told him?
Oh, yeah, I did.
He's like,
70? Yeah,
that was
pretty good. Yeah.
What irritates me about the whole discussion we're having right now is that the seeding doesn't even matter. Like the regular season doesn't matter. Like, are you telling me that they have the number 1 seed, but they're playing Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and everything they got, they're playing the Clippers. I'm taking the Clippers. I'm taking the Nuggets. I don't care where the seeding ends up. Congratulations. The Kings were the 3rd seed last year. The Warriors said, hey, this is playoff basketball. Welcome to it. You don't know anything about it. And I ran them off the floor. So, maybe I'm just, I haven't watched much basketball outside of the Kings. I watch every Kings game, but besides that, I'm really focused on football right now for the next 3 weeks. But then, as always, February 1st hits and it's like, all right, it's NBA basketball time. So I'll have to watch a little bit more and, obviously refine my takes a little bit. That way I don't get old takes exposed or something like that.
All right, let's move on to the mid-season award winners at this point. So let's start off with the MVP. MVP at this point, there's 2 guys who are odds-on favorites, Jokic and Embiid. At this point in the season, who would you give the MVP award to?
Embiid.
I'd give it to Embiid. As much as I hate the Sixers and I don't like Embiid, and it's hard for me to swallow that, Yeah, I'd give it Embiid, especially if like this is like the end of the season type situation. He drops 70. You're going, okay, well, you just capped off your performance. Congratulations, here's your MVP along with the 70 points. So
I actually
yeah,
think most of these awards are pretty easy, just based off of how everything's going right now.
I think a lot of these are pretty easy as well. Then let's speed run through this one. Rookie of the Year odds. Two guys, the top two guys, Chet and Victor.
Wimbiana.
You're giving it to Victor?
Yep.
I think he'll get it.
Yes, he will. I'm not saying who deserves it. I'm just telling you who's going to win it.
I would rather Chet win it. In your first full year to be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. The kid's good, man. I mean, he's really, really talented. He's like incredibly efficient. He's one of the biggest pieces for the Thunder. He's really, 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 really good on the defensive end. He's really, really good. He's really impressive. I would like to see him win over Victor, but you can't deny Victor and the numbers he's putting up and the things he's doing, and highlight after highlight after highlight. It's ridiculous, So, and then shout out to Brandon Miller, because everyone thought that dude was going to suck for the Hornets, and he's been pretty damn good. So shout out to him, because that's pretty impressive. Oh, and then shout out to Scoot too, because playing point guard in the NBA as a rookie is like one of the hardest things in the world, and he's been playing pretty well as of recent. So shout out to him.
Scoot's a beast.
Hell yeah. Sixth man of the year, Bogdanovich, and then Malik Monk are the top two guys. Who you throwing out there?
I wonder. There's actually, to me, Malik Monk, Jordan Clarkson, Tim Hardaway has been balling off the bench. And then there's another guy. There's a guy for the Pacers. I forget his name. But I mean, I'm picking Malik Monk.
Yeah.
Benedict Mathurin. For the Pacers.
Yeah. No, he's cool. And he's jumped in when he's had to and played really well.
I think Malik Monk is probably a starter in the NBA, though. Like we don't start him because of the way our offense runs, but he's going to get $20 million a year next year. So
yeah, and I would agree. I don't really have a huge stake in the Sixth Man of the Year award conversation on that one, so I'm okay with that. And then Defensive Player of the Year, who you picking on that one? Odds-on favorites, Rudy Gobert.
Got to be Gobert, right? I mean,
yeah,
that team is so good defensively.
Yes,
which is funny because Cat has always been known as soft, but just so good defensively.
He's an anchor. He's solid.
And they're fun to watch defensively. It's fun.
They are.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't think it's going to continue, but the Timberwolves are on. It's like, oh, holy, it's fun to watch. It's not like the Spurs from 10 years ago where it's like, all right, get them off the TV. Nobody wants to watch this.
Right. And then most improved player odds to round it out. Tyrese Maxey is the top, but there's a couple of guys up there that you can make a pretty big case for. Who you going with for most improved player?
I think two guys with the name Tyrese. I think the kid from Toronto. What's his name? Who wears the long socks?
Oh, Scotty
Barnes. And there's one other guy.
Sengun.
Yes, thank you. Oh my gosh, he's a beast. You know what's funny is Kings fans hate me because I've been really, really I've been really harsh on Sabonis this year, and I'm like, Sengun does the same damn thing for $20 million less. He's a baller. He's baby Jokic. Yeah, I think it's probably Tyrese Maxey at this point, but we'll see how the season shakes out.
Because no one really expected. I don't know.
Do you see that interview he did where he talked about his first start? And Embiid was like, "Hey, I need you to go for 40 tonight," and he was like, "What? Me? 40? I can't score 40." It was pretty funny.
No, I didn't see that. That's pretty cool.
You see why certain teams are successful because of the culture that they have, and when your star players set the example instead of being premature divas, that's why the teams that are at the top right now are at the top, is because their star players lead by example. And Joel Embiid and Jason Tatum and Karl Anthony Towns and Ant-Man and all those other guys right now are just, and they got to figure something out because LeBron and Steph are on their way out. So unless the NBA wants to dip down to like 200, 300,000 people watching the game a night, they need to build this next level of stars. So it's good for young players like this to step up.
Yeah, for sure. And last thing is coach of the year. Front runner right now is the coach for the Thunder is front runner.
Yeah, coach for the Thunder, coach for the Timberwolves. I mean,
any of those guys in the West who aren't supposed to be like those top two guys, or two teams seeding wise, in the league right now is pretty impressive. So yeah, I would give it to either one of those guys. I'd be totally okay with.
I think what happens, the NBA does this a lot with their awards, is Chris Finch, that's his name. If he wins head coach of the year, then you give OKC Sam Presti. You give him executive of the year. Or if you give head coach of the year to OKC, then you give the Minnesota guy executive of the year. That's kind of how they normally divide it up. I think it's like going back a couple of years. The 1s and 2s for coach of the year are always the executive of the years.